tonight of something that's happened here recently, and it's just so wonderful.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sandy Garcia, and this is my daughter, Jada. We're so excited and honored to share Jada's journey with you guys tonight. During this journey, we have changed relationships with people, with God, and with ourselves. Jada just turned 11 years old last month, so we've been going through this journey for about 11 years. And Jada was born very healthy. She didn't have any medical problems, full term. And about 2 months old, Jada started acquiring all of these upper respiratory problems, coughing, congestion, a lot of pneumonia. And this carried on through 4 years of her life. We went through this. And she was averaging getting sick about 3 weeks out of 4. Every single month she was doing this. So at 4 years old, she acquired pneumonia again, and it was so bad she had a partially collapsed lung that they put her in the hospital. They observed her for 24 hours, they treated her, and then they released her. At this point, I was feeling like a failure as a mom because I couldn't help my child. She was so sick. So I called my insurance company and I said, I need a second opinion from another doctor. And they said, you can't do that. You either stay with your doctor or you change doctors. But why don't you call the nurse hotline? By then, they were told that Jada has asthma. We've tried every inhaler out there. We were constantly at the doctor's office and she was on antibiotics all the time. So I called the nurse hotline and I spoke to the nurse and I told her what was going on. And she said, that little girl is on way too many medications. You need to go see a pulmonologist. Pulmonologist, for those of you that don't know, is a doctor, expertise is in the lungs. So I went to the pediatrician and I asked him, I said, I need a referral to see a pulmonologist. And he said, oh, no, you don't. Only oxygen-dependent people and people that are really sick in their lungs need to do that. So reluctantly, it took 6 months to be able to get that referral. And when we did, we were given that referral to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. Jada and I together went on that doctor visit. And the resident doctor there that saw her, his name was Dr. Asfar. Within 30 minutes of that visit, he said, you need to come back. We need to do further testing. And I said, why? And he said, we need to test her for cystic fibrosis. And I said, what's that? And he said, oh, don't worry about it yet. Well, of course, me as a mom, I went home and I researched. What I found right there in front of me when I was reading is cystic fibrosis is an incurable disease. Can we all say incurable? Incurable. It's an incurable disease. There is no cure. Primarily it affects the lungs and all the organs in the body, and it shuts the organs down. A typical or average person that has cystic fibrosis will have probably in their lifetime a double lung transplant. If not, they can acquire diabetes, stomach problems, and just being sick all the time. So Jada and I went back to the hospital, Children's Hospital, to be tested. And what they did was they gave her a sweat test. And basically this determines if the salt in your body is coming out too much. They tested Jada and she tested positive. Now we had a name to these symptoms, and it was called cystic fibrosis. They put Jada on different treatments. She was on over 6 different medications. 6 months after she was diagnosed, they put her in the hospital for a month. Typically, they want a child or an adult that has cystic fibrosis to be at least 50% of their body mass. Jada was at 17. She was in there for a month. They prodded, they picked, they did all these tests on her, and they even performed a surgery on her. So now Jada had a gastrostomy put in her, which is a tube that goes into the tummy to help feed her. So now Jada was being fed at night to help her gain the weight. They discharged us after a month. 2 days later, we were right back for another month. So we did 2 months there at Children's Hospital. During that time, while we were there, my mom and dad came to the Rock to listen to a speaker by the name of Dr. Kegel. Anybody hear of him? So after the service, my mom and dad went to Dr. Kegel and was explaining to him what was going on with Jada, their grandchild. And as my mom was talking to Dr. Kegel cut her off. And we didn't realize until recently why. And what Dr. Kegel shared was when my mom was talking to him, God was talking to him as well. And God said, go to her. So between my parents and my brother, which happens to be Pastor Art, they made arrangements for Dr. Kegel to come to the Children's Hospital to pray over Jada. I remember Artie sharing with me when they got to the hospital and Dr. Kegel looked over at Art and said, are you ready to witness a miracle? And so Dr. Kegel prayed over Jada and myself. And there were a lot of things said, but 2 things that were the most important. One of them was, you will be healed. Not, oh, I prayed for you, you're going to get better, let's get out of the hospital. No, very factual, you will be healed. No doubt. And the second thing was, Jada, you will minister to other children. Well, if you could imagine at this time, I'm not going to lie, I'm thinking, I'm pretty angry with God right now. You know, why are you doing this to my child? Why are you giving this awful disease to my child? So this man's going to come over and pray over us, and now all of a sudden Jada's healed? Us normal, average people? Yeah, right. Is my thoughts. So Dr. Kegel prayed over Jada, and then time went by. And seeing Jada's struggles, I was just exhausted and sad. And one day I got on my knees and I prayed. And I said, God, I can't do this alone. Please take it from me. And at that point, he took it from me. And our relationship, both Jada's and mine, with God became stronger. And we began talking to him more like a friend. And our relationship was just so wonderful. So no matter what news we heard when we went to the doctors, we thanked him anyway. And as our relationship got stronger, our prayer was more focused. And our prayer was, be patient and be still. And what that meant to Jada and I was that, Lord, we know that you're going to heal her, but it's going to be in your time and not ours. So that was our continued prayer. Speeding up to just about a year ago, somebody asked me, Sandy, what kind of strain of CF does Jada have? Because there's different kinds. And I said, I don't know the answer to that. So I approached the doctors and I said, can we do genetic testing on Jada? Took a while. They did the testing. We got the results in February, this February. The doctor hands me the results, and the test results read, there is no detection of CF on her genome. So then I said, well, let's take this a little further. Oh, and by the way, the doctor was very quick to tell me, don't worry, she still has cystic fibrosis. However, Jada and I cried because we said, we already knew what was happening. We're like, God's getting ready. It's coming. It's time. So we prayed even harder and harder. And so basically I went to the doctors and I said, can we retake this sweat test that we had that gave her that diagnosis? They were a little hesitant. It took a while. But in May, just a couple of months ago, they took the sweat test. 5 years ago when Jada took the sweat test, she was tested at 62, which is abnormal. In May, when Jada took the sweat test, she was at 32, which is normal. So now the doctors are, well, maybe we need to put these other tests on hold because Jada was ready to take her annual blood work and also ready to take diabetes test. And they said, let's just put this on hold. Let's just test one more thing. Let's test her pancreas because it's supposedly not working. We took the pancreas test. It took a couple of weeks and then I got a call at 8 o'clock at night from Jada's doctor. And guess what he said? Sandy, Jada's pancreas came out normal. It's working. So he says, Jada no longer has cystic fibrosis. He says, we don't know how that happened. That's never happened before. So it was pretty amazing. This just happened to us last month, so it's very new for us. But he said, stop all her treatment. There's no need anymore. And Jada has not been on any medication for about a month's time now. And she's thriving. As you can see, does this kid look sick? She is not sick. So basically, what I wanted to say was, you have to ask for it from the Lord. You have to ask Him for what you want. And not only once, but constantly pray to the Lord about what's going on and heavy in your heart. You need to incorporate Him into your life as a lifestyle. Not just showing up for church on Sunday or praying on Sunday, then living your life a different way 6 days out of the week. This is true, and we're living proof that Jada is a miracle. There was no medications that cured her, treatments, or surgery. There was only one thing, and that was God. I just want to say one more thing. After Jada was healed, I Googled because I wanted to find, a cystic fibrosis survivor shirt. They have cancer survivor, things like that. Do you know that there is not a cystic fibrosis survivor shirt out there? What does that tell you? So we're going to make our own. I just want to reintroduce Jada. She wants to say a few words.
Hi, my name is Jada Soto, and I am a cystic fibrosis survivor. When I was first told that I had cystic fibrosis, I was questioning God and why He would do this to me. I had doubts in my mind if God even existed. And then I met Dr. Kegel, and my life changed for the better. My relationship with God grew stronger and stronger. I started going to church every Sunday.